Hello, everyone. We are live. Welcome back. This is day 20 of our 31 days challenge. If you are here, you are very welcome. Okay, so please, before we get right into what we have for today, if you know that you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, if you're not following me on social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, at a drip of love, please, you can do that. Thank you so much. So today, the 20, we're talking about chores, responsibilities. Okay, I think I just put chores there because I feel like chores is one of the major things or one of the major challenges we have in our homes. Okay, but we're not just talking about household chores, we're talking about taking up responsibilities in general. All right, so and our challenge for today is, which chore or responsibility does your child like or dislike the most? Okay, so a lot of times children will have their preferences, most times based on age, most times based on their personalities or their past experiences, which we are going to talk about today. Okay, we're going to talk about all the reasons for their likes and their dislikes. Okay, I pray that I pray that we have enough time to talk about it all. Okay, but the most important thing is, why exactly do they prefer some things and why do they dislike others? And what do we do about the challenges, about the responsibilities that they dislike? Okay, I think that's what I want to. But before we continue, that's what I want to talk about. But before we continue, what are some factors responsible for this reduced or low expectation from our teenagers? All right, that is what I want to see in the comment section because I want you to participate. So, what do you think are some of the factors responsible for low expectations in our children or in our teenagers? All right, because recently I got to understand that we don't take on, our parents did not give us, especially for those in our generation, those between 20 and 40, our parents did not give us enough responsibilities. They did not let us, or they did not help us or manage us enough to take on some of these responsibilities. So that is why a lot of times most of us grew up confused. Most of us grew up not so not so independent, or not as independent as we should be. Okay, now we should know that our children and teenagers are capable of taking on a lot a lot more than we are giving them. Yes, I've seen some children start cooking at 4, at 5. It's not an exaggeration. Some children start doing things at 6. Some children can cook very well at 8, but some other children are not able to do anything. And a lot of the times, these little things with regard as chores are what builds on to their ability to take on responsibilities later in life. So most times, apart from chores, outside chores, we're supposed to give them more responsibilities, academic responsibilities, give them more books to read, give them more things to do. But a lot of parents do not do that. A lot of parents do not do that. So apart from chores, what other responsibilities are you giving to your children? How are you helping them build leadership skills? How are you helping them build other skills, independence? How are you helping them build tenacity, persistence, and all that? These are the things, these responsibilities and these chores are what helps us build these things. So most of the time we just grow up, we don't even know how to collaborate, we don't even know how to reach out to people, we don't know how to work in a team. These things are things that are built most times even with little things as chores. Okay, so our children can take on more than we are giving them. They need to do more difficult tasks. They need to do. There's a lot of low expectations in our teenagers, and even a lot of times from us parents, and even from the society. Now, let me ask you, in those days, you see, our parents would tell us when I was 14, I was already working. It was not a joke. So why is it that we expected a 14-year-old, or they expected a 14-year-old to take on a lot of things? Okay, to take on a lot of things at that time. In fact, I read a story of of one of our past presidents that became that started working in a surveying company at 17, 16 or 17. So he was able to take on a lot of projects. He started college at 14. He was able to take on a lot of projects and all that. But right now, the expectation is so low. So right now, if you're a teenager, nobody's expecting so much from you, right? Our teenagers are not, we are not expecting so much from them. We just want them to go to school, come back, maybe read their books, do their homework. Our teenagers can write books, yes. Our teenagers can start a blog spot and do better and do well. Our teenagers can do so many other things. Okay. Someone said I started earning money as early as 12. Wow, that's amazing. I was given a lot of responsibilities while growing up. That is amazing. But a lot of parents do not give responsibilities, especially now, because of increased screen time. A lot of teenagers are expected to be on their television. Expected they are not expected to do more than that most of the times. Academic work is taking over. All our teenagers are focused on, or what all parents expect teenagers to focus on now is work, 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 school work, school. Today I was on social media, right? And I saw a school in China where 5-year-olds only go, as in most of their time, they make their own food, they prepare things, they try to make clothes and all that. So some of these skills or some of these responsibilities are things that we can build in our children. Okay, teach them to defy low expectations, that they can take on more than they think they can. So when things as little as chores are things that our children are not able to take on, then other things may become so difficult for them to take on. So let them embrace the challenge of doing hard things. I think that is like the core of what I want to talk about. Teach your children to do hard things. That responsibility that they find difficult. If they are not able to go past it, it will affect their academics. It will affect the one you think you want them to focus on. Okay? So when they begin to see things as challenging, when they begin to see things as hard, they will find it difficult. Teach them to do things outside their comfort zone. That is why, as adults, people are struggling to do things outside comfort zone, because that is not how we were built, or that is not how we were raised. But when we train our children to do things outside their comfort zone, you would see that they just grow up to do things that way. Okay, so we should teach our children to do things that outside their comfort zone, things that defy societal expectations. Okay, things that don't earn immediate results. Growing up, a lot of us, I'm sure, not every one of us loves to do chores. Not every one of us enjoyed it. Even if we must do it, we don't enjoy it. Okay, but most times some of us were forced to do some chores, and it's helping us a lot. That is the difference between some persons that are struggling now to do chores and struggling now to take on some responsibility or to stretch themselves now in their adulthood. You cannot compare a person that did not have that while they were growing up to someone that has been doing it while he or she was growing up. You cannot compare. The difference is much. The difference is clear. Okay, it just reflects in everything. So age could be a factor. All right, younger children may dislike some tasks. They may find them less engaging, but we must ensure that they do them. Okay, older children may find some things boring, repetitive tasks like washing plates and doing something. It may be boring to them, and most times as parents we may start reminding them, oh, come and do this, you have not done that. So we need to help them, we need to help manage them. Okay, when it comes to past experiences, some parents usually say, okay, when you do this, I'll give you this, don't worry, just go and do it, I'm going to give you something. So how do you expect that child to take on that responsibility wholeheartedly? Most of the time, that child will take on that responsibility because the person is expecting that when I do it, I'll get a praise, or when I do it, I'll get a reward. So these are some of the challenges, okay? Previous experiences with failures. There are sometimes that we try to do things. Now, like I said, I'm not just talking about chores. I'm talking about other responsibilities like schoolwork too. When you give your child a responsibility, or when a child is having issues or challenges in a particular task, on a particular task, and you don't try to help that child understand that yes, it will be hard, but you can go past that difficulty. Yes, it will be hard, but you can do it. If you just allow the child may not be able to take on more difficult responsibilities. Children feel overwhelmed with a lot of things these days. So what are we doing? Yesterday I asked, what is your implementation plan? What is your implementation plan? Okay, I'm seeing it like my mom took the child's advice too serious because it was a whole lot. Thank you. If it's a whole lot, you should go and thank your mom for giving you that, because she has built some sense of responsibility in you. Yes. So now we're going to. I want to try to explain some of these things with the 5-factor model, which they call the Big Five personality theory. Okay. Which one at the end of the session, you tell me where you fall in and where your child falls in. All right. So we have the conscientiousness, right? So the conscientious children are generally organized, they are responsible, they are dependable. You know, those children that when you give them a task, they will take their time. In fact, these children, as I said, is a trait, personality trait. It comes naturally. They are naturally organized. They are naturally determined to do things. Those children are called conscientious children. Okay, those ones that pay extra attention to detail, that are more focused. Those ones that you don't need to. You know, when you are in a family and you are like, the child that is not a conscientious child, and there is one that is like, this one is always doing busybody, she wants to do everything. That is that child I'm talking about. The person that wants to do things in detail. Oh, do you want to do this? Oh, mommy, don't worry, I will do it. And the other persons will feel left out. So that is the child. Those children are called conscientious children. Okay. Now the problem with conscientious children is that they may take on a lot of tasks, right? Even as they are growing up in their academics, they may overwhelm themselves with so many things. Now we're learning these things so that as parents, when we understand our children, if your child is a conscientious child, you will be able to know where to help the child. Okay, because conscientious children may fail to complete tasks. Yes. Now, children may fall in one or two categories. I'm going to talk about 5 of it. I pray we have time. But they may fail to complete some tasks. All right. I feel I place myself in that category at in maybe a percentage of it. Because at times they'll be so determined that, oh, I'm overwhelmed, I want to do a lot of things. That is that child. So maybe your child wants to read it, your child wants to do it, your child wants to. How can you help that child as a parent? You can help the child to plan. Okay. Right now, there are ways to help children build routine. It takes a lot of effort, yes, that you have to plan. Okay, you are going to do this by this. Remind them, when you do something, they say there's a 21-day rule or a 31-day rule or so, that if you do something consistently, you would get used to it. It becomes a habit. It's a 21-day rule principle. So when they continue doing having a particular routine for a while, they get used to it, and then after a while, you keep reminding them. That is how we help as parents. If you have a conscientious child, that child will be overwhelmed, and we want to procrastinate sometimes because they feel, oh, okay, I want to do it in a perfect way. They are perfectionists. I want to perfect it, so I will do it tomorrow when I have strength to do it well. So most of the time, when they have responsibilities, they may not be able to take on. Those are the children that when they want to wash play, they wash it well, but they say, don't worry, I'll do it later, don't worry, and it will start causing strife in the home. So who is a conscientious child, or who was a conscientious child, or who has a conscientious child here? All right. So sometimes you need to motivate them. They can do it. Oh, you can do it. These are some of the ways to help our children. Now, the next set of children I'm going to talk about are those children that are open to new experiences. They call them children that are openness category. Open to new experiences. Those children are curious, they are creative, they are adventurous. Now, they see tasks or responsibility as an opportunity to learn, right? But the problem is that because they are adventurous, they may get bored doing one particular thing. They may get so bored. So how do we help them as parents? Because when they keep repeating responsibilities, repeating the same thing, something as simple as homework Something as simple as homework might become a burden. They may not be able to take on. Yes, they may not be able to take on. So we have to be very conscious, understand our children, understand what personality traits they have, so that you can help them take on responsibilities. Okay, now for this kind of child, you can offer them a variety of tasks. You can make their if they're having challenges in academics, you can make it interesting for them. You don't leave them and just leave them to go find or discover themselves or to go do things. And you don't start shouting, hey, you don't want to do it. This is why you need to understand, because when you know the reason for something, you know exactly how to attack the thing. You don't just start having issues with your child because for teenagers, when they get to this point, when they get to a certain point of being overwhelmed, they get anxious, they get angry, and you would think that they're angry at you, or something about you is irritating them or getting them angry, and you start having issues with them. But if you understand their personality, you will know how to help them. Okay, so you can rotate responsibilities. You can teach them to, okay, when you have done this one a little, go over to this one. Get used to rotating. Do it in bits. You don't have to do all at a time. Okay, now quickly let's talk about the third category, the agreeableness. The agreeableness, those that are cooperative, they are affectionate, they are caring. Like, those ones are so empathetic. You know, those ones that will look at their mom and say, oh, mom, you're working too much. Let me help you. Those things come naturally. You're working too much. Let me help you. They will do it naturally. Okay? But the problem is that these children, even as they grow up in life, they may start taking on so many things, and they will overlook their own growth, overlook their own personal build up. All right? They'll be all about being empathetic, which is not a bad thing, but they will not know how to draw a thin line between between taking on responsibilities so much and overwhelming themselves, not being able to say no, and actually doing something right, or having a balance to it. They may not be able to have a balance to it. So how do we help our children? We must emphasize that, yes, we must emphasize their positive efforts, right, in the family, how much they are working hard and everything. But we can also help to give them tasks that involve people, tasks that will encourage them to do more, and also teach them to draw a thin line. All right, teach them to balance it. Teach them that they cannot do everything at once. So these are some of the challenges with responsibilities when it comes to our children. Okay, so the fourth set of children are the neuroticism. All right, this neuroticism are like those that have mood swings. They are so dramatic. They get angry easily. Every little thing irritates them. They get easily anxious, overwhelmed, upset. All right. So how can we help these children? They will feel anxious. They will feel overwhelmed when you give them things. Come and watch play. I'm tired and everything. Or come and do this. It's not a reason for strife. All right. These are the reasons we need to help ourselves. It's not a reason for strife. It's a reason to understand how to help. You can help the child break, okay, do this one now. Later you do this one. You can help them break down tasks into smaller, manageable steps. Yeah, manageable steps. I think it will reduce the anxiety, because even us, when we take on responsibilities in our workplaces, we have issues, we are overwhelmed. So how do you help that child? Because every little thing can irritate the child. So encourage them, motivate them, help them to stay calm. It's not a time for you to start shouting, hey, you've not done this one. I told you to do this one since. Why are you still like this? Why are you so stubborn? Those are the things that will even increase the tension around the child, the tension around the home. Okay, so last we have the extraversion. Okay, that extraversion are like the extroverted kids. Those that are so boisterous, those that are so energetic, those ones prefer group tasks. They prefer. In fact, I like I like a situation where people work in groups. Like that is that child. People work in groups where you come, oh, okay, let's do this. Today is cleaning day. You sweep here, you do this. That is why we need to model. We need to model as parents. We need to model. So those kind of children, they need you. They need to see you modeling it. They need to see a community in the home. They need to see you as a parent doing it. So because they will rush through tasks, they will rush through it like they want to finish, and they will not meet your expectation. You may start having issues with them. So they may struggle to do things alone. You may start having issues with them. So how do you help them? You help to let them understand that it is a responsibility, that no matter how hard it is, they can do it. They can do it. Because if they are not doing it just because they have to like it, they must do it because it is a responsibility. And when they grow up, they will take on higher responsibilities. And if they don't have the tenacity, they don't have the resilience for it, they will break or they will give up easily. So I think this is just an encouragement to get to know where your child falls in these personality traits and how you can help them as a parent. Okay, so just before we go, sorry I've taken a lot of our time, but just before we go, how does this help them? If they're able to build responsibility, they're able to build problem solving skills. Okay, they're able to build independence, they're able to build resilience and tenacity, like I said, they're able to build critical thinking skills, they're able to improve in their academics, they are able to make decisions on their own, to be independent, to cope wherever they find themselves. And most importantly, it prepares them for future challenges. You see, those that are bold today, those that are confident, those that are able to do things in their offices, that are going all out, taking up responsibilities, going out of their comfort zones. It is responsibility. So, parents, thank you so much for joining me today. Please take time to build responsibility in your children. Take some time to build responsibility in your children. I'm so glad you joined me today. Thank you, everyone that joined. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.